Hi, everybody. It's Rich and Molly at International Fertility Law Group. We thought we would check in with everyone and give you some updates on the current status of getting here to the U.S. during the COVID-19 travel bans and getting home.
Rich, can you start us off with talking about getting here?
Sure. All right. Well, first of all, when you're considering coming to the U.S. while the travel bans are in effect, first, if you are in a country that is not subject to the travel ban, then you probably won't have too many issues getting here other than proving that you have self-isolated for a period of 14 days prior to travel, or that you have a plan to self-isolate for 14 days upon arrival. If you are in a country that is subject to the travel ban, however, then you will go through a number of other steps to get approved to travel as an exception under the presidential proclamation. The primary exception that would apply is that it is of a national interest to the U.S. that you be allowed to travel here as a parent of a child about to be born, so that you can not only be here to make medical decisions for the child, but also to take the child from the hospital when the child is ready to go, so that we as a country can preserve our healthcare resources for the public health crisis. That national interest argument has been winning the day, and the way to get approved is, first of all, check to see if you have an ESTA or a visa and if it is valid. Because of the travel ban, many of the ESTAs and visas have been automatically revoked or temporarily revoked or canceled, and so you will need to get them reinstated. And to do that, you will need to contact your local consulate or embassy and make an appointment with them to go over all of your documentation to get approved for the travel. The documentation that you will need to present will be a letter from an attorney and a letter from either the hospital where the birth will occur, or your obstetrician for the surrogate, or the IVF physician, again testifying to the national interest argument here. Along with that, you'll need an attorney letter or a G28 form filled out by the law firm so that you have authorized the embassy to speak with your attorney on this matter. And then you will also need to be prepared to answer a number of questions about any ESTAs or visas you've had in the past, and what your plans are for self-isolation either prior to or upon arrival in the U.S. With that, once the embassy has reviewed the documentation, typically they have been granting permission to travel rather quickly. And so you'll provide your flight itinerary to the consulate or embassy. They will notify Customs and Border Protection, and they will also notify the local airport manager at the airport where you are flying into, so that everyone is aware of your travel. And of course, provide copies of your documentation with the consulate or embassy, so that if anyone asks questions while you're traveling, you'll have the printouts of everything where you've been approved for the travel. Okay, so that's it in terms of what you need to know about getting here. Molly, can you tell us a little bit about what you need to do to get home?
Definitely. So getting home is still the same process. You need to start with the birth certificate and then work for the passport or travel document to get home. Birth certificates right now are taking a little bit, it's a little different than it's been. Sometimes they're taking a very long time to get, and sometimes they're even quicker than they used to be. It really depends on where the surrogate lives and where she's giving birth. So make sure that you talk to your lawyer so that your attorney can properly counsel you as to what to expect in terms of getting that birth certificate. There's a lot of the government offices that are just closed completely, some that are working with short staff members. So it's just different in every area, okay? The next part is your passport. Now, the first option that we would always have recommended in the past was to go for the US passport. This is an unlikely solution at this time. US passports are only in life and death situations right now. And so to get on the non-expedited list, it's going to take about 8 to 12 weeks to get a US passport. The other option you have is to apply for a passport from the home country where you're from. This can work by going to your local consulate or local embassy, and sometimes you can instead travel on certain travel documents from the home country. Again, this is going to depend on where your surrogate gives birth, what's around that you can get to, and also what country you're from. So talk to your lawyer about what the best options are based upon what country that is, where the surrogate lives, and those factors. There's also the option of traveling home on the laissez-passer, which is a document that allows you to travel without a passport. Now, this is something that's very specific, and so in order to get this, you definitely need to work with a lawyer in your home country and a lawyer here in the United States to help with that. One thing to note is the timing of the passport application. You're never giving up your right to apply for a US passport for your child simply because you don't do it immediately at birth. But it may not be the best option to get on that slow track, the 8 to 12-week track, if the other options aren't going to work for you. So if you can't get a passport with your home country, if the laissez-passer is not an option, then the slow track might be your only option for the US passport, and you can never switch out of that slow track into expedited. So for example, if they open up expedited US passports in 2 weeks from now, but you already applied under the slow track, you can't switch over. So make sure you consider strongly the timing and what might work best for you. You can always go home on the original country, your home country documents, and then apply for a US passport at any point in the future. Now, what happens if you are unable to get here? There's a couple of things that we strongly recommend you consider. One is temporary guardianship. Somebody who you can nominate who is not under any sort of traveling restriction, who can come here and who can take temporary custody until you can. You can nominate somebody like that in legal guardianship documents. Also, we recommend a temporary medical or healthcare power of attorney to make sure that medical decisions that you need to have made over here can be made in the manner that you would like them to be made. These are things you should definitely be talking to your US-based attorney about. All right?
Okay, and Molly, one more thing. In terms of the intended parents getting to the US, once they're here, are we hearing from hospitals as to differing policies on who's allowed into the hospital? And can you address that just briefly?
That's a great question. What they're, for the most part, telling everybody is the parents are generally not going to be allowed in the delivery room. The surrogate might be allowed to have one support person, but we're starting to see exceptions here and there where hospitals are a little more open to it. So it's really, again, a specific thing. Be talking to the hospital where the birth is going to occur so that you know ahead of time what their policies are, what they expect from you, and what they'll allow. And if you're unable to be in the room for the birth, it's oftentimes a really nice thing for your own heart and your own emotions to be able to write a little letter to your child. I know we mentioned this in our other video, but it's something that a lot of parents have reported back was really good for them. It's a really nice thing to be able to do so that you remember the moment and you can share it with your child when he or she's old enough.
Thanks, Molly. You know, as it is with our last video and the video for today, 4th of May, these policies, these restrictions, these regulations, they're all changing frequently. So keep in touch with us, check our website, keep in touch with your local attorney in your home country, and feel free to call us or email us if you have any additional questions. And if you would like to email us, you can email me at rich@iflg.net, and you can email Molly at molly@iflg.net. All right, thanks everybody. Stay safe. Bye-bye.